that you've been to some far places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such...
And it's Thierry Henry. And Henry is magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. And when you need a goal, you need Thierry Henry. Suddenly change played through the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent.
So, good evening, everyone. We have some awesome guests tonight. We have Gracie-Mae, Kyle Walsh, Del Boy, the legend Kenny Ken, and Warren. First time on my channel for Kyle Walsh, Del Boy Gunner TV, and Warren's Team Talk. Great to have you here, people. Kenny, Gracie, thank you once again for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And looking forward to this tonight. We're going to look for the answers of what's gone wrong. So, the big question, and I'm going to throw this one out. Gracie, what has gone wrong at Arsenal?
Where do you start? I mean, you know, it goes back. It goes back. It doesn't just start with Arteta, I don't think. You know, we've had this problem with the Kroenkes for a very long time, and it sort of trickled down further and further into our squad eventually. It's all the way down to the bottom, and a lot of it is rotting quick. And I think definitely with the hierarchy, very, very much down to the bottom, because you've got to think hierarchy controls everything, but what they don't do is they don't control what happens on the pitch every day or every game. So all aspects, I think, is probably going to have to be covered tonight when we're looking of what's gone wrong. It's you've got to look at the very top, and then eventually you got to see at the bottom, because at the end of the day, the Kroenkes aren't putting the tactics out on the pitch.
Yeah, great points. Great points. Kyle, what's your view, man?
James, my view about the whole situation is this all began back in the Highbury days, at the latter part of the Highbury days, when they start talking about knocking her down to move into a bigger, more financial stadium, beneficial stadium. And that, to me, is the very beginning of the downfall of the Arsenal that we all grew up and loved. And then the other thing would be when Wenger starts saying that fourth spot is like winning a trophy. The standards started to fall. In my opinion, guys, since we started building the Emirates Stadium, the values, the history, the traditions of our great club stopped. And we can all see, I predicted that all the way back then. I said, the Arsenal that we know is not going to be the same ever again. And so far, I've been proved right. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And it starts at the top and it goes all the way down to the bottom. There's a cancer within our club. And it's there every single day we wake up. And I don't see any sign of it getting better. And it's not just Arteta. Everyone blames Arteta. I don't want Arteta to come. But this begins back then, Jace, back in the latter days of Highbury Stadium, as far as I'm concerned. And that's under Wenger when he was the manager. And that's where it all started for me.
Mate, I totally agree with you, because we all saw the signs when the announcement was made by Sir Peter Hill-Wood. We have the finance, blah, 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 to develop Ashburton Grove. And I remember back then there was a lot of unhappy people because of the history and the love for Highbury. The fact that Highbury at that point in time was deemed as a ground that away teams didn't want to go and play at. Now, I know we had an amazing team at the time, and at that point in history, we had a very good manager, which we can argue about, you know, he stayed too long, blah, blah, and all that. But I totally endorse your comments. I mean, I absolutely hate the Emirates. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I think the atmosphere is dead. It's nothing like the atmosphere that I ever grew up with at Highbury. And it saddens me every day to witness what goes on with this fan base at the Emirates. Because the only time I ever witnessed that sort of what's going on now was when we were trying to get Terry Neal out. When we had the protest, which Kenny will remember, going up to Islington Town Hall. And that had a major impact on the club. But I digress. Dale, what's your view, man?
Yeah, I'm just sort of taking a few notes down here as I have pen and paper, because first of all I want to say thanks a million for having me on your channel, Jez. When you sent me that the Instagram message just to say that we're going to have a talk of what's wrong with the club, I thought it was very important for people like the people that we have on here now, Gracie, Penny, Kyle, and Warren, to sort of look at our point of view. Because when you look on Instagram, Twitter, and all this, you're seeing fucking assholes like, oh, the new jersey's out on Thursday. This is after the night we got slapped by Newcastle. And I'm sorry for saying this, but Jez, I think stuff like this needs to be said. Are you for fucking real? Like, these fucking idiots, okay? I'm going to hit the fans, okay? Because the fans have so much to blame in this. Because we're settling for this mediocre shit, okay? I'm looking at Arsenal, the Invincibles, going back to 89, you know, when we didn't have a chance of winning the league. We were probably 16, probably 19 to 1 to win the league. But I forget, I read somewhere, one of the legends that not affiliated with the club now, they said, we didn't care what the odds were. Do you think in the last few games, 5, 6 games, even when we went into Anfield, oh, the odds are this. So no matter what happens, if we if we lose 1-0 or if we win 1-0 to Liverpool, it's a successful season. No, it's not. That's what their mentality was. No, it's not. And now I'm reading in all sorts of articles, people's successful season. We finished 5th. For real. Seriously. You know what I mean? So I'm blaming the fans first. You know, the fans that are settling for this like this 5th, 4th, whatever you want to call it. And they're happy with this. Oh, he's building a team. He's building a process. The team is going to bounce next year. What about Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle? Are they going to sign any players? Because apparently to these fans, they're on pause. They're not going to sign anyone. Arsenal's going to sign everyone else. And then we're going to make our team stronger. And then we're going to kick on and catch up with them. Because they're not signing. Man City isn't signing Haaland, who's probably one of the hottest properties in football as I'm speaking. So they're not signing him now. You know, so the fans need to wake up a small bit and just realise, do you know what? Football's about winning a league, winning a cup, getting far in Europe, challenging. And the next sort of set of fans, and we've all probably touched on it during the week, is the legends of the club. Fuck off. And I'm sorry, Jez, for cursing on your channel again. But seriously,
Mate,
they're like the Martin Keown. See him. I'd love to get a hold of him outside the Emirates. You know what I mean? I'd get a camera on him. And then I'd have a word on him, all right? He's a flip-flop, you know? Ian Wright, we don't even need to talk about that fucking idiot. He used to be a champion to me. He used to be a champion to me. And he was one of the reasons why I started supporting Arsenal. You know, Kevin Campbell, I used to love Ian Wright and Kevin Campbell. Loved them. Absolutely loved them. You know, Ray Parlour, you know, great battler, doing so much for Arsenal. Easy now. You know what I mean? You know, the list goes on. These clowns that are, like, you know, they're selling all they want. Alan Smith, And I think, Kyle, you done something on Alan Smith during the week. All right. Now, you said something, and my answer to your question is, why is he doing this? He's trying to get her. No, do you know why he's doing it? This is the plain and simple answer to it is because Sky have told him, if you say there's so many Arsenal supporters on the planet, okay, that tune into Sky Sports all the time. They look at Arsenal matches on Sky Sports. They're tuning in. So Sky are looking at the money, the revenue. So if they're told Alan Smith is after saying, do you know what, Arsenal are going to be shite next year. Like, you know, there's no point in tuning into them. There's people there that goes, oh, well, if Alan Smith said it, okay, I believe that, and then there's no point in watching the matches because Arsenal are going to lose it. And that's the way it is. He's been paid by Sky Sports. Keown has been paid by Arsenal. Ray Parlour, Ian Wright, you know, the list goes on. And that's the way it is. And then there's fans that are listening to these clowns, you know, and it's going on like that. People need to wake up. It's as simple as that. Because this club, I can guarantee you, the way it's going, there's only one way it's going down. And what's going to happen is we'll be like West Ham for a few years, and then what's going to be the pull. What does Arteta have to pull in the transfer window? All I'm just seeing is Dybala, welcome to Arsenal, and a picture of him in an Arsenal short. He's serious. Seriously. You think Dybala is going to come to Arsenal? Why would he come to Arsenal? Will he come because of Arteta? Or will he come Europa League? And by the way, Man United are going to spend about $1 billion in the summertime. We'll probably end up, if Super Mikel Arteta gets into the final, who will we play? Probably Man United. You know? And I'll leave it there.
Kenny.
Well said, Del Boy.
We've talked
Well
about
said,
it.
mate.
But, Kenny, go for it, man.
Well, the biggest problem at Arsenal is probably the least obvious, but should be the most obvious. It's the fans. The fans genuinely believe there isn't a problem. They generally believe, the majority of them generally believe that we've had a successful season, despite the fact we're not in the top four. The majority of our fans treat the top four as a trophy, and that therein lies the problem. They see Arsenal as a Europa League club, stroke top four club, who are going to be topsy-turvy. 1 minute they're challenged for the Europa League, 1 minute in the Champions League. And I think we're just going back to the 80s where we were just happy to be in Europe. And that is the biggest problem. We've got a lot of fans who've been away from football for the last 18 months, gone back into the grounds, and right now is that it's kind of having bodyguards watching you having your dinner. If you're in prison and everyone said, right, if you don't, unless you finish that piece of porridge, we're not going to let you go out to the play area. And it's like fans forcing other fans like us to accept mediocrity and not say anything, because if we say anything and try protest and say we're dissatisfied, go F off down the lane. Oh, you're not a proper fan. Oh, you want Arsenal, you don't want Arsenal to do well. You take pleasure out of us not winning. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that you've got too many of our fans who, let's face it, they think they speak for the club, and the club accept that they speak for them as well. And hence the fact that the club don't think anything's wrong. Because as long as you've got their own particular channel, Arsenal, the official Arsenal YouTube channel, where they have people like that lovely woman Graham and her sons Bo the Beard talking absolute nonsense about slagging every old fan who slags of Arteta, they're going to think everything's all right. Then you've got AFTV with people like Julian and all the other people saying this is doing well. Then you've got the other channels where they all want to go be professional, Gooner talk, certain person on the Highbury squad. You've got all these other channels where they all call themselves level-headed fans. They're part of the problem, because they will accept this mediocrity, and they're always going to say the reason why we can't compete with Liverpool or any of those teams because with money. We can't compete with Man City because they've got this money. We can't compete with Liverpool because they've got this massive squad. So they're always going to do the club down, but they think we're doing the club down by giving bullet point reasons why things are wrong. And they're part of the problem, because let's face it, the Cronkies listened to the fans when it came to booting out Arsene Wenger after he failed in his second consecutive year to get into the Champions League. So they got rid of him because of fan protests, but they didn't want to, but they just did it because of fans did it, because they don't know enough about football. Same with Unai Emery. We were conned into thinking Emery was a disaster. We did that to Emery, not the board. They didn't do it of their own accord. We did that. We were conned into believing that Emery was the devil incarnate, that the football was really bad because the media was saying that Arsenal conceded 37 shots against Watford and all these other teams, so we handed them out. We're now being conned into thinking that this guy is the reincarnation of Joseph out of Technicolor Dreamcoats, when he's not. He is not a good coach. He's an average coach who's trying to get by, and he's been given his position he doesn't deserve, i.e. team manager rather than head coach. Hence the fact he's got a lot of responsibility. The problem we have is that a lot of fans refuse to accept that our transfer deal is partly down to him. They refuse to accept that the winter, the no-show in the winter transfer market was a lot of it down to him, because he couldn't and didn't want certain players who he didn't think were going to get us better. He relies heavily on Saka. I'm hearing now he wants a right winger to rotate Saka. He had Pepe, but no one wants to talk about that. They want to talk about how bad Pepe is when he plays and how glad they are to see the back of him. And that's the problem we've got at the football club. The fans are the massive problem, because these problems were there when we first moved to Emirates. They were there when we were a fourth place club. They were there when Unai Emery was there. And they're there now. They haven't changed. We still got a soft underbelly. We still have basically a not rail runner off the pitch, and we still primarily care about profit margins. And at the moment, we've got a situation, a new problem, which is a lot of the fans want to just be superstars. They don't care about the club. They just want to, whenever they go on their channels, especially the fan cams, they look straight at the camera and say, "Look at me." They think they're actually bigger stars than the football club. So we've got so many problems which are getting in the way of what the biggest issue is the club. A lot of people forget except the biggest star at Arsenal Football Club is Arsenal Football Club. No one's bigger than the club.
Kenny, can I come in there and watch exactly what you just said there? Me and you were doing a fan camp. You walked by, you spot them, Liam Brady. And there was young fellas and everything around us. You hadn't a fucking clue who Liam Brady was. Me and you were like kids in a candy shop. You know what I mean? We were just, oh my God, there's Liam Brady. Everyone can hear it.
I stopped the interview with you. I stopped the interview and said, hang on here, you got someone bigger there. That's Liam Brady. But if he went, if I tell you now, if he went around the concourse and AFTV were filming, and a lot of these young fans who should know better and don't know anything about history will barge past it to go and have their photo taken with one of the characters. Even Julian, they'll think is more famous than Liam Brady. That is dangerous. That is dangerous.
Anyway, Warren, sorry, Warren. I'd like to comment there, Kenny. Back in the day when we had Sir Alex Ferguson at Man U and Arsene Wenger, people talk about Arsenal haven't got the money. Well, we competed with one of the greatest football teams in English history under that manager. So I don't get the argument that people say, oh, we can't compete with Man City. We can't compete with Liverpool. Arsenal has spent a shed load of money with this manager. So in my mind, he's bought crap. But anyway, we can get on to that. Warren, mate, go for it.
Right. Well, for me, it starts at the very top. It starts with Mr. Stanley Kroenke. He's the one that recruited Mikel Arteta and all these other people. And he's the one, I believe, and his son Josh, who are all orchestrating this whole charade around what is going on with the way that they're dividing and conquering the fan base. They've got us fighting amongst each other, amongst ourselves. They've got us in a situation where people are fighting and bickering on Twitter about the manager rather than looking at what the owner is doing. I don't believe that the owner wants the club to be successful. I think the fact that he was given his new contract when they were being confirmed as being able to finish in the top 6 says it all. I reckon the target seemed to finish in the top 6 all along. Was never to finish in the top 4, because I don't think he wants to get in the top 4. Because the problem is we've got a self-sustaining model which we're supposed to be working on, right? If we get into the Champions League, I think he thinks we're going to have to spend outside the budget that we can afford for a self-sustaining model, right? That we're going to have to pump in more money than what they want us to be able to do, and which will mean that we'll get slapped all over the place, and it will put massive pressure on him, because I believe the last thing he wants is any pressure put on him, either from us, or the rest of the club, or from the media. So that's why I think they've orchestrated this campaign with the media companies and certain sections of the fan base, including AFTV, to get them on side. They bought them off so that they can peddle their marketing and PR crap, okay? And then this leads me on to what Del Boy was saying about the fan base, because I think we're a massive problem in it, because we can't unite together and fight it. He's got us over a barrel, and I really, really fear about the future of this club, because if this continues the way it is, I can see the club being relegated. I really can, because it's only going to get worse. If we sack Mikel Arteta, all he's going to do is going to replace him with someone of a similar ilk. So, for example, what I mean by that, he could sack Mikel Arteta tonight, hopefully, and then what he would do is he'll appoint Per Mertesacker, right? Yeah. And because he wants someone in the manager's job that's going to say, yes, Mr. Kroenke, no, Mr. Kroenke, how would you like me to do that, sir? And all this carry on. And yet Mikel Arteta, Edu Vinay and all the rest of them are a massive problem. But unless we get the cancer out of the club, which is Stanley Kroenke and his son, nothing is going to change, because it all starts with them. As soon as they're gone, and we have an owner in who knows about football and has a passion and cares about the club, then things will improve. But until that happens, I'm really, really fearful about the future of the club. And until we stop fighting as a fan base, then they've got us where they want us. It's like, if you look back in the history of this country, when we had the British Empire, that was how they conquered like 3/4 of the planet. It was by going into countries, dividing the population, and then doing their divide and conquer situation. It happened in your country, Del and Kyle, in Ireland. You've got the Protestant side and you've got the Catholic side, and they're constantly fighting with each other. And that's why it makes it so difficult for those countries to be able to get their independence. And this is what is going on with his football club. They've got us fighting amongst ourselves so that we can't unite and beat him. And he's waiting, in my opinion, for the Super League to come, because he knows he's going to get bucket loads of money out of that. So that's what I think.
Mate, I couldn't agree any more, to be fair. The sad fact of the matter is that this is nothing against, how can I put this? This is nothing against America. Now, we have seen American owners really do not do the right thing for football clubs. You know, Man United and all that, and we're seeing it at Arsenal. I just don't think they actually get it, what football is in this country. And I think it causes a major, major issue. But we'll go for a few comments and we'll get on to the next question. And it's so slow tonight, this comment thing. I might have to give up in a minute. It's just not happening.
Guys, just to comment there about the Americans, their message of sport is completely different than our message of sport over this side of the world.
Darren says, the sad thing is I knew ground and I don't like saying its name. I actually like it. Well, fair play, mate. It could be good, but it's what it is now. And the name 2006 removed, it was when it went sour. Yeah, all day. I can't stand the place, personally.
I mean, for me, like, I've only ever had the Emirates. You know, I'm nearly 17. That's all I've ever known is the Emirates. That's my first experience of football. So for me, it's like, well, but, you know, I've been inside Highbury or the part of it that's left the stand. And, you know, it feels different. You can feel it automatically when you go to the Emirates compared to that. It's a whole new level. What does the Emirates mean? It's just our sponsor at the end of the day that helped pay for the club. So, you know, it's the Arsenal stadium. It shouldn't be the Emirates. You know, at least Highbury actually meant something rather than. Hello.
I just come in there and just say to you, when you go to the Emirates, you're walking up the steps and you see the cannon facing the other direction. That's all you need to know about the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah.
And you know,
it's a joke.
Even just to pick up what Gracie was saying there, like when I done me vlogs and stuff like that, and I was at the Emirates. Well, I've said it even before on my channel. Like when I went from Highbury, I remember the time I went from Highbury and hadn't it opened in 2006, and I think it was 2007, 2008 was when the fourth time I went to the Emirates. But I was used to being at Highbury, the North Bank, like, you know, everyone knows, like, you know, what it was like, and. You know, to go to the Emirates, I was just like, wow, this isn't good, you know. And only recently then when I was at the Leeds game there and I walked around, Warren was saying you should walk around to Highbury, like, you know, and see if you can sneak in. And, you know, me being Del Boy, I can fucking sneak in anywhere, you know, I'm like a bleeding mouth. You know, if there's a crack in the door, I'll get in it. So yeah, I brought Zach into where the gardens where you're talking about, Gracie, and like I think I've done a 10 seconds little clip, quick clip, and it was just because I was actually emotional, you know, because this is where our Arsenal was, and we went over to the Emirates and it died. Like, you know, let's hopefully we can revive it, like, you know, but to me.
Let's get on to the next one. This is a pretty deep question, really. What of your views that needs to be done to fix Arsenal? Now, we all know we're unhappy with the manager. Yeah, so there we go. What else needs to be done? And I'm going to mix this round, so I'm going to come back to Warren. What do you think, mate?
Right. First of all, I think, as I said before, we need to get rid of the owner, but I just think that's unrealistic at the moment, right? I think it's going to take a long, long time to get rid of him. But the whole senior management of this club needs to change. Okay? You know, we've got... to me, they strike me. I don't know because I don't know their backgrounds. I don't know enough of their backgrounds to make a real judgment about it. But I'd say that Vinay, Edu, and this Richard Garlick haven't got enough experience to be in the positions that they've got. And Arteta certainly hasn't. So I would want to replace them with people who know what they're doing, but also have got knowledge and experience and a passion for Arsenal Football Club. So I'd want to see David O'Leary put in as one below Stan Kroenke so that he can be an advisor to Stan Kroenke and say to him, this, and this. right? Give him advice on a day-to-day basis and acting like an advisory role, because I just don't think he's got a clue. I don't. I just do not think he's got a clue. And when that sank home for me was a few years ago when they had that AGM, and he was there, and none of the others would allow him to speak. He just sat there and didn't say a word. You know, and so, but we need to get the badge back, the old badge, because
never happened, mate.
And that saddens me, because the one we got at the moment, I just think it's an image of this current setup, and I think that they're trying to disconnect the club that was prior to that new badge coming in with what it is now, and it really angers me and really saddens me to see that. A number of fans as well that I've noticed that just don't give a shit about the history of this club, I think is absolutely disgusting. It really is, and I think the history of this club is so important that it should have a far more prominent feature on the club website. And they should go out. They said someone like, for example, like yourself, Jez, going out to local schools in the area and talking to the kids about the history of the club and how it links in with the history of the local area, right? Because I know that they do work in the community at Arsenal, or they always used to. Because I got involved with it once. I went to Arsenal for a meeting to be involved with it. They were doing work with disadvantaged homeless people, and I was gonna help them. They were doing this literacy thing with local people in the community and stuff like that. And I think that they could teach youngsters about the history of the club and get them passionate about what the club was previously. Because at the moment, I just do not believe that they could give two monkeys about it. I really don't. And I just think it's a massive, massive problem if they disconnect the club from its past the way they look like they're trying to do. So I think that's one thing that we could be doing.
If you remember, I actually, and Kenny may not know this, and you guys are great to know. 5 years ago, I actually contacted Arsenal Football Club and offered for free, to do an Arsenal history setup. And the response I got after 6 weeks was they didn't deem it to be relevant.
What?
Yeah, Jace, you told me that. That's right.
Because on their website, Kenny, you go on the Arsenal website, there is nothing at all about the Arsenal history. So
Well, the thing about the website is that you go there and it's mixed. It's not extensive. It's like kind of bullet. It's sort of things you find in Wikipedia. It's very much a footnote. Footnotes, and I think that's the problem with this football club as well, is that rightly so they've opened up since Sky Sports has become a massive platform, and since we became successful under Arsene, but previously with George Graham, we've got a lot of our fans from the diaspora who've come from abroad, so they're attached to the club and they fall in love with the football club. But in terms of like knowing about the club, the fact is that they don't care. All they care about is the current situation and whether it's successful. And that's the biggest problem with this football club at the moment, is that the people that the club are going for are not people like us. We're a sure thing. It's the people. For instance, I'm against what Arsenal do now. I don't like the fact that they have a kit launch every year. I think it's an embarrassment, because I'm used to Arsenal having the kits for at least 2 or 3 years and then they move
Yeah.
on. But because we've got a global fan base and we've got our cousins from our diaspora around the 4 continents, the fact is that they know they can't always get to the Emirates. Some of them may never get the Emirates because of where they live. So the best way they can make them feel close to the club is get this merchandise out, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of demand and the supplies out there. So rather than making these guys, feel part of the club, don't just give them a kick that that you're going to change in about 2 years' time. Change it every season so these guys can feel part of the club, and that's the problem. Is that they know their market. Their market isn't us. Their market isn't the history makers. You know what I mean? They're going to say, "Oh, we've got to move on." Hence, David Deans is very much part of the fact of the problem, but he thought it'd be a solution. He wanted to move us away from Highbury because he genuinely thought, naively, that if we had a 60,000 stadium, that we were going to become able to compete in terms of like transfers and other, business dealings with Man United, because they're the only club in town who we could compete with. Then what's happened is that when Chelsea and Man City came along, we raised the right flag. Their money's not a problem. What I will never accept is the fact that Arsenal accepted 4th place and saw that as a trophy because they didn't have the balls and the guts to compete with Chelsea and Man City. Know full well that the reason we moved into that massive, massive stadium is so we can have the revenue to compete. Let me tell you something now. Everyone says that Arsenal ain't got the money. Are you having a laugh? They've had 22,000 extra seats. Where is the money gone? They got pots of money. They were in the Champions League from when they moved to the Emirates in August 2006. Well, the first game August 2006 till the last game in the Champions League, which is February 2012. They must have made tons of money from merchandise, Champions League appearance money, i.e. for where they finished, getting more money for getting to the last 16, because we never went out in the group stages when we went to the Emirates. We always made sure we got to the last 16 stage, at least. So we must have made a ton of money. Where has it gone? Because it hasn't all gone towards rebuilding the stadium, because we basically had a situation where we knew we were going to finish it in 2031, but the Cronkies gave us a loan to pay it off. So where's all this revenue gone? Where has it gone?
Kenny, I can answer that straight away for you. Guendouzi got sold for how much? 2, 4, 4 or 5 million. Guendouzi, okay? He's now a French international, okay? We could have sold him, if we gave him a 4 or 5 year contract, we could have sold him for at least 30 million, okay? The board of directors are fucking dinosaurs. They haven't a clue what's going on, and they're just yes men to Stan Kroenke, okay? So their mistake of the Arteta contract that he's after signing 8.3 million per year. Okay, if he fucks up by the time it comes to Christmas time, how much are we going to have to sign out? I don't know. Someone do the maths. Is it 20, 24, 25, 26 million to buy him out of his contract? Okay, so all that revenue, the extra revenue that we're getting, that little pot that we're getting, is paying all this shit. Lacazette's contract, Eddie Nketiah's contract, Ozil's contract, Alexis Sanchez's contract, Aaron Ramsey's contract. Do I need to go on? All this money that they're after hemorrhaging out of the club, it's like, the extra few quid that we're making from the Emirates, that's exactly where it's going. The board, like Warren said there about the owners, and I agree 110% with them, but it's the board of directors as well. I've seen them, half of them are fucking on oxygen tanks coming out of the fucking Emirates in their big Rolls Royces.
I've seen the same sort of thing. I remember,
fuck them out of the club.
God bless his soul, like great Peter Hillwood. I remember seeing him after an Aston Villa game in 2012. I mean, the guy just about walked of his own accord, just about. But I look at these people, like I've seen Sir Chips, Keswick as well. I've seen all these guys, and I think what's happening is that it's the prestige of being on that board. But in terms of like genuine decision making, the problem we have, we won't swallow our pride and go and look at what Chelsea and Man City are doing and say, hang on here, these clubs are Chelsea. You only have to go down the district line to go and see what Chelsea are doing, or even go get a car down to Cobham, get a train from maybe Paddington, one of those areas, of Waterloo, to go and see what's going on, and then think, right, this is what they're doing. or even just shadow Gracie-Mae, because all these clubs like Man City and Chelsea, they copied us. When Wenger was in town, and even when George Graham was in town as well, teams looked at Arsenal and always saw that this Bank of England club and said, right, we're going to emulate the Arsenal. Go to Cobham, right? Cobham, they copied London Colney. So we're not emulating other clubs, but they're allowed to emulate us and run past us, and we just stand stagnant. I don't
Well,
get
I'm
it.
gonna throw another question in here, which I think is a very, very important question for Arsenal this summer transfer window.
Mm.
So I've got my viewpoint on this, but I want to really hear yours. So, question is this: what positions really do we need to have improved, and how much realistically do you think Arsenal will spend this summer? Bearing in mind, we spent absolutely zilch in January, and this manager left us with a very, very weakened squad. And it's basically, in my belief, cost us a hell of a lot in the FA Cup, League Cup, possibly getting a fourth position to get in the Champions League. So I'll kick this one off with Paul Gracie. You go for it.
I think realistically we need about six to seven players, but with a lot was riding on the fact that we could have got Champions League. When it was said at the time, we were in a good position. It looked like we wasn't going to bottle it. We were playing all right, and we were a healthy amount of points clear. But you look now and you think, right, so if we were waiting for all this extra money and this appeal to come from the Champions League, then what are we going to do now? Because if up the top sees, right, well, you didn't hit your target, if you like, so why should I give you even more money when you've already spent this amount? So really, we're looking at, we have to get a striker, because that's not even an option at this point. That's cost us. I believe that is the main thing that's cost us this after January. As soon as we got rid of Aubameyang, you can see it missing. Like, you can physically see it in a game. It's not there. It's all good Martinelli and everyone else whipping in balls into the box, but what's the point if you haven't got someone to finish it? Lacazette's too short and hasn't scored in months and can't hit the target. Nketiah is too young, feeling the pressure. He's got all this. He has to score and this and that. And he hasn't developed yet. He's not good enough to be playing at that level at the consistency we need him. And then you've got £72 million players sitting on the bench. So striker is literally what they have to do, if anything. Then you've got to look, right, well, we've been plagued with injuries. So now we probably have to get a backup left back and something in midfield. So all I see us doing in the summer is like 3 players max, if they really want to spend the big money on a striker. But on the other hand, I can also see them cheaping out, getting someone just to cover the other areas.
Kyle, what's your view, man?
I'm glad that you've asked me, James, because I'm gonna say this. Just bear with me for a few minutes, because I need to get this off my chest. Arsenal Football Club, James, for me, has to act as the third biggest club in English football. We have to be able to compete against the best of the best. I do not want any other standard but this. So you're asking a question about transfers. I'm going to give it to you all straight right here, right now. Tommy Yasu is not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Cedric, Holding, Ben White, Gabriel's a squad player, at least, just a squad player. Sambi, Shaga, Pepe, he's been a flop since he came. Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, Odegaard. These people are not good enough to play for Arsenal Football Club. They're not good enough to compete And they've just proven that over the last fucking 5 years, more of them. They're not good enough to compete. So in my eyes, you have to ship the likes of them fellas off out of the club, and you have to replace them with top footballers. So that's going to compete. But the problem is, we are not in a position to do that because of their standards of thinking fifth place is an overachievement. That was said by our manager today. An overachievement. Arsenal Football Club fifth place? Are you fucking kidding me? The other thing is, who are we going to get in the transfer market? Because forget about the top boys. Because the top boys wants to play Champions League football, not Europa League. It's a disgrace that we're Europa League football. It's a disgrace Arsenal are fifth place, and it's an absolute disgrace what they've done over the last 2 weeks. They've literally walked all over the club, destroyed everything. They're not good enough, lads. The thing that we have, they can't compete. They're not good enough. You may get rid of them and you replace them with top quality players. But that's not going to happen. That's not a reality. But it's what I want. So that's my answer to you, James. It's what I want, but it's not a reality. And I think, Gracie, you're right in what you say, Gracie. I think we're going to be seeing Arsenal buying 2 or 3 players max. And we're going to be cheap additions. And let me tell you something. No matter who we buy now, next season is going to be an absolute fucking disaster. We'll be lucky to finish in the top half of the table next season. Mark my words on that. I don't care who they buy. Because 90% of that current team are an absolute disgrace to the team, to the club. That's just my opinion, Jace. That's all it is. Not good enough.
Del Boy, what's your view, man?
Darren just put a comment in there a few minutes ago that I've seen, and he says Aubameyang was the only player that the opposition feared. And he's 110% right, because, like, you know, he had this swagger, and, like, you know, even though he was playing shit, he didn't have many goals for us and stuff like that, but teams did fear him. We went into after the January transfer window, I think everyone on the panel here, like, you know, said that it's going to cost us not signing a player. And it did. We went into after the January transfer window, we went in with Lacazette as our lead scorer. You know, I have a local shop up the road. He needs a fucking ladder to get the fucking food up on the shelf. He does. He's that small. You know what I mean? And we're expecting this fella to fucking start scoring goals. Are you for real? Like, seriously. I manage an under 10s team. I know that. I'm a fucking idiot from Dublin. That's all I am. And we're expecting Arsenal Football Club are expecting him to bang in about 10 goals to get you into the Champions League football, at least 10 goals. A world-class manager like Sir Alex Ferguson, they were in touch with this and they were up there challenging for the league. What did he do? And I said this loads of times. He went and he got Henrik Larsson. And Henrik Larsson got about 10, 12, whatever goals was. Man United win the league. He knew, he goes, right, I need someone that's going to bounce and going to score an extra few goals to push us over the line. What happened? They were champions of the Premier League. What does like, who is making the decisions in this club? Is it Edu in his speedos and fucking jet ski? Is that who we're dependent on? Like, I know it's funny, but is that who we're dependent on?
Yeah.
People need to wake the fuck up. I think what they're going to do is they're going to probably sign Calvert-Lewin or something like that. And for me, he's a good player. He's a backup striker. That's who I have him as. Because I'm Irish, I don't give a shit if he's fucking English, Japanese, fucking Iranian, wherever he's from. I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all. But some people just go, oh, he's English, he's an English international. Oh, he must be good. Stop, will you? You know what I mean? We need to sign world-class players. But unfortunately, they will try that. They may try it. But they're not going to get it. Because Aubameyang, Martinelli, or not Martinelli, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Guendouzi, you know, you start asking, all these players talk to each other. So let's say, we'll just say Dybala, for example. He plays for Argentina. Martinez, that plays for Aston Villa. You just go, what's Arsenal like, mate? Dybala go, what's Arsenal like? Because Arteta's on the phone to me there, he's on the phone to me agent. Martinez is going to go, don't go to that fucking idiot. He's a wanker. Aubameyang will believe he's done whatever he's done to. You know what I mean? And that like, we all have WhatsApp. You know, we can all talk to each other. You 5 people there can just go, here, Dell's a fucking idiot. Don't go near him. And that's grand. But do you know what I mean? That's the way it is. And I'm just spitting facts here. But no, hold on. The fan base are just there thinking, Dybala, welcome to Arsenal. Get a life, will you? Seriously.
Kenny, you know.
Well, the thing is, right, I still think that it's 6 or 7 players. Right back, the right back has to be improved. You know, as much as people praise Tommy Asu for his solidity at that level, we all know that the right backs that Arsenal should be in a frame for have to be someone like a Reece James or a Trent Alexander-Arnold. These are the guys going to win you the league. At left back, we can't rely on Kieran Tierney, and we don't. And even if we rely on Kieran Tierney, we can't have a massive gap in quality between Kieran Tierney and his understudy. So these are the quality players we need to be going for. Midfield, I said it once, say it 1,000 times. Granit Xhaka is a good deep line midfielder, but he's not what we need moving us forward. If we're going to play the football that Arteta claims he wants to play, you need someone like alongside, you know, Partey, who's either an athlete or someone who's got a brain and is a complete midfielder. In terms of like forwards, we need 2 top-class forwards, and then we need to, you know, maybe if he's ready, maybe he's got the right experience, just have Balogun as the fourth, you know, like as the fourth reserve. In terms of goalkeeper, we need another goalkeeper to push Aaron Ramsdale. Because at the moment, Aaron Ramsdale is too comfortable in his position. I think in the last few games when we needed some sort of solidity, he's made some good saves. But what's happening is that his mentality is the same sort of, mentality. Well, if you look at our last 2 games, Spurs and Newcastle, it was like he was playing for Bournemouth and Sheffield United, the amount of action he's been getting. So I'm not criticising him as such, but I just want 6 or 7 players, but even if we get squad players, if the gap in quality is if there's a gap in quality between the first choice and the second choice, then forget it, mate. It's just going to be like the last few seasons. And yes, I will be watching David Sydney Roosters, watching a bit of that, like rugby league. But getting back to the whole situation. The DNA of our football club and the DNA of the players we have to sign has to be players who can win us the league. Simple as. Doesn't matter whether we're 4th or 5th. If we don't get those players, then I'm afraid we're going to get the same sort of situation as we had last season. We're going to have the same sort of discussion because we will miss out again on even the bare minimum, which is the top 4. Simple. The longer we spend without winning the league is a disaster. But spending a lot of time without the top 4 makes us less of a relevant club because, as everyone says, Delboy says, Gracie says, you know, Carl says, and Warren's about to say, players will not come to what players won't want to come to Arsenal on just a reputation. They're only going to come to us if we pay big money. Simple as.
Yeah, great point, Kenny. I mean, I endorse everything all you guys have said. You know, I've got my views. Kenny, we've talked about it, but Warren, what's your view, man?
I think this summer is going to be a really, really hard summer for Arsenal Football Club, purely because I don't think we're going to be able to attract top players to the club because of Arteta and because of his increasing reputation as being a megalomaniac. Any top player in his right mind isn't going to want to come here and work under that. They're not. I sincerely believe that they will not want to come because he has proven that time and time again that he ruins people. Look what he's done with Aubameyang, that he did with Pepe, and countless others. And then the way he constantly rows with people, he doesn't try and resolve issues with people when he's having a problem with people. I don't know if anyone else on the panel has managed people before, but I have. If you have a problem with a member of staff, the first thing you do is you sit down, you try and talk to them and sort it out. right? Find out what's going on, why it's happening, and then try and resolve the problem. But I don't believe that is happening. I just think he has a problem with someone. That's it. He wants them out. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think the trouble is football's a small world. And all these players, they know each other when they go off on international duty. They're meeting up with players from other squads. They're chatting with them. And I'm sure that when, like, for example, we've been talking about Dybala. He's probably been chatting with other players that he knows that have had contact with Arsenal players, or if he hasn't had contact with them himself, and said to him, "What's this Arteta fella like? And is he going to set up his team to make it that I could be successful there, or what's going to happen?" And I'm pretty much guarantee that they're going to get a negative response.
Warren, I'll tell you, Zach, if fucking Arsenal came knocking for Zach, my son, I wouldn't even let him go to Arsenal, and I'm a fucking Arsenal supporter.
Exactly, and you know what I mean? And in terms of what we need, I wrote it down earlier. I think we need a goalkeeper, we need a right back, we need a left back, we need a centre back, we need 2 central midfielders, and we need 2 strikers minimum. That's practically a whole team.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which brings me on. All of you have just touched on this one question I was going to ask. Right, Man United are basically in the same dire position as Arsenal, right? But do you think with their new manager, Ten Hag, who has a proven track record, will attract more, will give more influence to attract players? I honestly believe Man United this window will spend a lot of money. But caveat to that, do you think that Arsenal getting Europa League qualification will aid Arsenal attracting players? I personally, my belief is no, because I don't believe Mikel Arteta, as Warren and the other guys have touched on, has the attraction. Because Warren, you said it, I've said it. All these players talk to each other. People like Aubameyang, influential player at Arsenal at one point in time. You know, he will have talked to other players. And if Arsenal are going to buy a player that he knows, he's going to have a word. He's going to have a chat. He's going to have a phone call. And this summer, all these players are going to be on holiday, you know, because there's no European football, there's no World Cup. They're going to be relaxing on their beaches. They're all going to be having a great time. They're going to have a chat. They're going to meet up, have a great time. And I just don't get it. Even if Arsenal come out with a massive, massive box of cash, 300 million, and say, right, we need to buy 6 players, and we want these 6 players. We all know Arsenal like to play stupid games. Oh, this player's 70 million. All right, we'll offer you 55. And it'll go on for months, and it'll go on for months, and it'll go on for months, and it don't happen. Anyway, what's your views on that, people? Go to Kenny. Kenny, get your view, man.
Well, yeah, you understand right about the whole situation in terms of, like, you know, getting at the caliber player. We've always looked at it since probably since we moved to the Emirates, where not so much in the early years because we had some really, really good players, and we lost them for one, financial reasons, one, their ambition because they weren't winning anything. But what we've seen to do with Arsenal, and it's even that we'll sign a big star, and then that'll be it. And when everyone thinks that one star is going to be the player who's going to take us over the line. For instance, 2013, Mesut Ozil. Then it was Alexis Sanchez. You know what I mean? kind of list goes on. Aubameyang one year, Lacazette one year, and what we've always bottled when we were at Arsenal is signing a whole spine. Surely, if Arsenal were genuinely right interested in trying to challenge for the league, which we should always be doing, and then eventually once we win the league and start getting the Champions League regularly, being like a solid Champions League club where we can actually get to maybe the quarterfinals, semi-finals on a regular basis, and even get the odd final. We have to get the DNA of the player. The DNA of the player we get is always either a young player that we're going to hope to build up so we can sell him for maybe at a profit, or a young player we praise and become good. We never ever go for players who are established, experienced players. They may be experienced in maybe in a league, maybe one of the Bundesliga, but it's never established player from Spain, never established player around, European football, even our league. And that is the problem with Arsenal. The mentality and the DNA a player we buy is never been applied to satisfaction, or the spine as well. And that's the problem. At Arsenal, we claim to want to challenge for the league. We claim that we're not satisfied with fifth place. We claim that we have to be in the Champions League and we have to win the league because we accept we're the biggest club in the country. But it's all waffle. It's all rubbish. I don't believe that. Don't believe it. The minute you question them about the transfer window, the right players weren't available at the prices we're going to set, or at the moment we can't compete because other clubs have limitless amounts of money. You'll see excuses. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with Arsenal. That's probably why I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Get an owner like the sort of owners we get at Newcastle or Man City or an Abramovich. Get a megalomaniac who accepts second is nowhere, who will sack people for poor performance, and won't sack them until they get it right. And even if they get it right, they will basically have a ticking over the staff because they don't want something to be comfortable, get stale. That's what we need at Arsenal. And until we get that mentality, then I'm afraid we're probably going to get the Champions League maybe once every 3 years, if at all, or probably and win the league maybe in the next 7 or 10 years. But it's only because teams are in transition. We're never going to be a competing club with the people we employ at the football club and the mentality. You can have the right people, but their mentality is all wrong, and they're all saying, well, we can't compete with Leicester City's money, can't compete with Man United, can't compete with City, with their big budget. Then what do you expect? You're gonna have a mentality where we just make up numbers.
Gracie, what's your view
on Man United, or just what we're gonna do?
I mean, what's your view on the fact that Man United are my belief, they will go and spend big this summer. The fact they've got in Erik ten Hag, he's got a philosophy. He will, in my belief, attract the players more than Arteta. But Arsenal have got the added attraction of Europa League. Do you honestly think that will have an influence on Man United attracting players over Arteta?
Well, you got to look at Man United's squad on paper compared to ours, right? You got some serious names on there, and that's going to attract any player, especially young, hungry, up and coming world class, or even already world class players at a young age, because training with the likes of those people that you may have idolized is going to be a massive factor. And when you have a manager that has experience, he's proven, he should come in and he should see exactly what he's doing and fix it and create this big, building back up Man United to what it used to be. But then sometimes I feel like, in a sense, Arsenal was stuck in the past a bit. We're stuck into when we maybe, left, didn't get into the Champions League the first time. We're still stuck there, still stuck at the point. You've got all these other clubs that are developing around us, your Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, well, not hopefully, but probably Man United now as well, and even Newcastle. You know, all these teams that are going to be competing for top 4 next season that have got a real plan. But what is our plan? You know, a player is not going to come if they don't see structure. At the end of the day, they want to play football. But they have to look of their situation. You know, they have to live here. They have to live, eat, sleep, and breathe around this football club. But if you've got a manager that is, you know, very flippy floppy, especially in the media, and that's, you know, when you've got other managers, big managers in the world saying he complains too much, well, that's a big red flag for one. You know, you don't want that. And then when you've got players coming out saying, "Oh, we didn't even follow the game plan," if I'm a player, I'm thinking, it sounds a bit too disorganized for me. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm going to get caught up in it, because once you're caught up in it, you can't get out. That's not how it works. Look at Bamyang. He's still caught up in it, and he's not even at our club. So, you know, even being in Europa League, what's Europa League going to offer us? What's our target in Europa League? Do you think we're targeting to win it? Probably not. We'll probably still favour the league, the Premier League, over the Europa League. So either way, I'm as a player, or some good players as well. Good players want to compete at the best level, and they want to win, and they want to be around players that are at that level as well. They don't want to be dragging everyone behind them. They don't want to have to carry the team, because that puts them in an awkward position. Then when they don't perform, fans are like off for their heads. So, you know, if I was a player right now, I'd be like, don't go. Don't do it. Don't put yourself in stress.
That's
And
such a worrying factor, isn't it? I mean, this is what concerns me, and that is my belief. But Kyle, what's your view, man? What's your view?
Jays, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Let's not fool ourselves here. Manchester United Football Club will end up higher than Arsenal Football Club next season. Ten Hag is a pure bastard. He's going to come into that dressing room and he's going to shake it up. And without a shadow of doubt, Man United is going to spend a lot of money in the summer. Manchester United will be fighting for the top 4 next season. Without a doubt. So will Newcastle, guys. We're all forgetting Newcastle's going to sign a lot of good players as well. Newcastle on the way up as well. Arsenal, like I said earlier, we'll be lucky to finish in the top half of the table this season. You're talking about Europa League. We have no hope winning the Europa League. I'm not saying that's the target, but if I'm putting Arsenal into a competition, I expect it to be a fucking target to win the championship. But they're not going to win because they're not good enough. Manchester United will overtake Arsenal next season. No problem with that. No, without a shadow of doubt. That's my opinion about it. I absolutely hate Man United with a passion, but they will go further ahead of us next season.
Del Boy, what's your view, man?
Yeah, like I'll agree with Kyle there. Like, you know, let's look at the Man United sort of window and transfer and all this stuff that they're going to do. Frankie de Jong, Barcelona have to sell him, and they're going to get big money. United are linked with him. Ten Hag is going to United. They're going to get him. They'll have Ronaldo as well in their team. So the 2 players alone, we have a player that played for Barcelona. You know, we've Ronaldo on our team. There's the selling point. Who's our superstars at our team? Saka. Yeah, okay. To me, he's a fucking under-21 international. You know, a great under-21 international, but like, yeah, okay. So is he going to lure everyone else in? No, not a fucking hope. Who are you going to pick if you're a professional footballer? Frankie de Jong, who played at Barcelona, Ronaldo. You know, he's going to be offered truckloads of money. You know, and that's as simple as that. Like, you know, I think Gracie said it there earlier on about the Europa League. Like, you know, we're feeding the Arteta sexuals with this. Like, you know, qualify Europa League. We may get there, we may not. Let's support Project Youth. Now it's a process. You know, like, I own a company, and for me to say, like, let's say, we'll just say, for example, business is slow this week. Oh yeah, I'm just getting work for you guys for the next few weeks. Okay, that's why businesses work. So then what I'm out doing is getting stuff happening. And then next thing we're busy for the next 5 months. And then next thing it slows down again. So it's like a football club. The results go shit. Oh shit, make up an excuse to your staff so they don't all want to leave. You know what I mean? And go look for other jobs and next thing you're fucking following. But it's the same as Europa League. Oh, well, we're in the Europa League this year, but our aim is to get into the Champions League. We're going to get into the Champions League. Don't worry about it next year. Trust the process, youth process, project, whatever. You know, it's a fucking joke.
Warren, what's your view, man?
Well, I still don't think that we're going to be able to attract players. I mean, I've heard reports today that William Saliba says that he doesn't want to come back. Players that do want to come back, he doesn't want them. His reputation that he seems to have about upsetting people and not being able to get on with people, which is an integral part of his job, he's not able to do it. I think United are going to leave us for dust next season. I really do. And I just can't see how he is going to be able to, as a manager, be able to do probably one of the most important parts of his job, which is to manage the personalities in the team. Because I just think he's capable to do it because he's too arrogant.
Absolutely. I mean, my personal view on this is that even if there is a massive, massive amount of money, I do not trust Arteta to buy the right players. He's spent a shed load of money in the last 2 years. And, let's look at what he's bought. Ben White, 52 million. I mean, I'm sorry, but the guy's just not good enough for this football club to take us to the levels we should be at. But there we are. Now,
James, just come in there for a second there, James. I tell you, he spent 250 million on dirt. And if it was up to me, and I said this before and I'm going to say it again, for the fucking players that he bought, I'll put them all on a plane in Stansted and I'll tell them to fuck off out of London and never to return. Not good enough for Arsenal Football Club, simple as. And that's coming from Arteta. So can you imagine giving him another 200 million to Spain? Sure, you might as well bring me, you might as well bring the panel there. It's a disgrace what he went and bought. That's facts.
But leads me on to the next one. This summer, I think it's going to be a massive transfer window. I personally do. Because there's going to be a lot of teams in Europe, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, dare I say it, Newcastle United. Newcastle United can spend £300 million without getting into the fair play job. And they've got the money. Now, I've talked to people who said, they won't attract players because it's Newcastle. Well, I don't agree with that comment because Newcastle is actually a really, really nice city. It's a nice stadium. It's a great city to socialise in. There's some beautiful areas to live. Nowhere near what it costs to buy a house around London. You can buy, like, around Newcastle, £1 million house is like buying bloody Buckingham Palace. So they can attract the right players. And I can't see the fact that Arsenal didn't get Champions League and our unfortunate neighbours up the road have got Champions League. They're going to spend, and I think they will get the attraction because it's the Champions League. Players want to play in that. And it comes back to the point about Arteta. But we'll move on. We're stuck with Arteta for the time being. I'm going to put it to you guys. If Arteta is not challenging for the league, and I mean like top 3, top 4, top 3 by Christmas, do you believe he should be sacked? Now, answer that with Carl.
I think if he's not challenging, guys, by the end of next season, he will definitely be gone. I just don't see him going by Christmas. But definitely by the end of the season. If he's not challenging for top 3 and he's out of all cup competitions, he should be gone. But then again, James, he could end up 17th and World Cup competitions, and the Cronkers could keep him on because he's a yes boy. So, and the fan base absolutely loves him. So, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? What does the fan base want? Personally speaking, I sack him now with a phone call right now. But that's just me because I'm looking for a high standard. But the fan base is not looking for high standard. Cronkers are not looking for high standard. So, who gives a fuck?
Exactly. Gracie?
Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead.
What's your view?
I've spoken to both sides of the arguments. People that are pro Arteta, you know, Arteta out, whatever. I've all spoken. I've got the same response back. And it's after what's happened with the top 4 situation. We've all said it, you know, as soon as if he gets a bad start like he did at the start of this season, the fans will turn. And I generally think they will turn. I think they'll have enough by that point because they've been promised all of this stuff, all of this, you know, the Champions League qualification, trophies, and 3 years or whatever. They've all been promised this. And I guarantee you, as soon as the wave or the journey we've been on this season's been ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. And everyone's fed up with it. Everyone is fed up with it. By the end of the season, we have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing to show for it. Because Europa League, you know, that's the very bottom of the barrel stuff. That's the bottom of the barrel, like, standard you would expect, right? And to sit here and be like, what have we got? We've sat through all of this, we've fought, we've gone through up and down, just to sit here and say that we've got Europa League. I can tell you now for a fact that most fans are fed up with it, no matter what way you side with Arteta. And even if he loses, let's say he lost the first 3 games of the season again, right? Depending on the lineup. If he loses the first 3 games of the season, or maybe 5, I can guarantee you the fans, that is it. I think that is the last straw, and I'm praying that all the fans will unite together and get this sorted, because it's a joke. It is a joke. I've sat here and watched every game this season, watched us get progressively worse. You know, that's not what happens. You make mistakes at the start of the season, you don't make them at the end, because what's the point? What's this whole journey the journey and the process you've been through all season to get to where? We're in a worse place than we started off, really. We're just fortunate that a lot of other teams this season have done poor, very poor, and we could just about, you know, nick it there in a few games here and there. We didn't lose top 4 against Tottenham. We lost it when we started losing 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
It's simple. It is simple. This manager tries to overcomplicate things. Football's a simple game. You don't need to be doing this. You know, they're professional players. They know how to run. They know where to be. You're just a spectator to rejig things. That is a manager's job.
Kenny, what's your view?
Well, my view is that one person has said, and you know, one thing is that last season when we had those horrendous results, when, you know, one of the themes of Arteta's management is that he's broken a lot of records. Unfortunately, they're records that no manager wants to be associated with, you know. But let's play along. With fans in the stadium, would they tolerate the sort of results that we got at the beginning of this season just gone, it's about to be gone, and the results we got last season. Because this season, there's been a crestful wave where, you know, one of the things that had frustrated me, and actually frustrated me in our last game of the last season, was the fact that we have had fans in the stadium, and what they've done is they've been preoccupied by just being in the stadiums. Oh, I'm back. I've missed it all. Oh, isn't it nice to be back? Come on, you Arsenal. I'm home. Oh, I'm watching me football. That sort of rubbish. What happens in the second season when trust the process becomes the equivalent of, you know, a Christmas number one that you just get fed up with? You know, a Cliff Richard song. What happens then? Because fans can only put up with so much humiliations. Look what happened with Emery that season. You know, in what I call the abandoned season, it was a waste of results to Sheffield United. Home games we actually won, but played pretty poorly, like Bournemouth and Villa, and you know, not being able to beat Man United. That actually got Emery out the door. So I think what happened is that the fans will only be so patient. They can easily go from singing that wretched Mikel Arteta song to wanting him out, and I think it's the fans who are going to get him out because the results ain't great. Then I think the fans will eventually want to change, because what they'll do is that they'll still turn up, but they'll be very, very hostile with it, and I think that'll be the clincher. But you never know about fans, because our fans are an absolute disappointment to us all. So it'll have to be something really catastrophic to the extent that by October we're in like 11th or 12th, 13th place, then maybe the board will have to look at the situation and start thinking, well, hang on here, we can't sell these lovely shirts if we're not even in Europe. We're not even in Europe. We're in the sort of positions where we don't want to be, even fighting for relegation. That'd be the only way. Apart from that, I can't see anything happening because I don't trust the fans and I don't trust the board.
Well, boy, what's your view, man?
Yeah, well, look at it. I agree exactly, and like, you know, I wanted to touch exactly what Kenny is saying there. Like, you know, the fans, and I said them at the start. Like I put on Twitter, some fella was just praising Mikel Arteta as if he's the next Alex Ferguson. And I just thought, like, this is laughable. It is laughable. Like we can name these managers: Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger in his first phase of Arsenal. You know, go on. You know, but these fans, and I wouldn't mind. There was a fan that I put on. I seen a comment he made on Twitter, something like that, and he was just there going, "Oh, we're going to bounce this year. Like, you know, the youth project is going to bounce, and this we just get a few experienced players, and we're going to progress more, and whatever the fuck." And I just said, I politely just said to him, I said, "Mate, look at the money we're after spending so far. You know, and we're not getting any closer to Liverpool or Man City and stuff like that. And, you know, I think you're backing the wrong horse here." And he just put under me message, "You are a muppet." That's what he said to me. That's wrong. I just said to him, "I'm not a muppet. I'm a fucking idiot." You know? And he was just there, like, his brain was just there going, "Oh my God, he's flagging himself. What do I say?" Well, guess what you say? You say fucking nothing, you dickhead. Because you know why? Because I went on his Twitter page and I fucking looked at him. And you know what? This is after the Newcastle game, and I said this fucking earlier on, and the stupid prick had down, and I'm getting emotional now. This is after the Newcastle game, we're losing 2-0, and the fucking dickhead, written underneath it, is the new jersey out on Thursday?
Oh, no.
This is for fucking real, you fucking dickhead. Like, this is what this fucking prick, he calls me a fucking muppet, and I was being polite to him. I was being polite, and then I wrote myself, "No, I'm a fucking idiot," and he had that down. And this is the mentality of the fucking dickheads that are out there. You know what I mean? And they know, you can see me name underneath there, the old boy Gunner. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anyone else in the panel. So if anyone has a problem, please come into me Twitter, come into me Instagram. It's the exact same thing. I don't mind. I really don't mind. You know what I mean? But this is the mentality of the half of the Arsenal fan base. You know, the way I look at it is, we're like what Kyle says. He says if this keeps continuing on, we're going to get relegated. I cannot disagree with him because the whole thing is it'll be Europa League this year is a success. Okay, we'll go back to let's say finishing in 8th. It's okay because United spent millions, Newcastle spent millions. Like Chelsea, Liverpool are pushed on. It's okay because like they have the money, they have the pulling power. We don't. Okay, so it's all right to finish in the top 10. Success, progression, grand. Okay, so then what's happening in the next year or two, and then after that? Oh, well, West Ham's bent and this and this. We're okay. Now we're down to the lower half of the fucking league. And I see exactly what Kyle is saying. Then we're in a dogfight, like Everton. So are we? Can you imagine Everton being managed by Mikel Arteta? Could they have got the win last night?
No way.
I don't think they can. I really don't.
No.
Warren,
what's your
And that's what we're going to be. We're static. We're going to be static at the lower part of the table. We're going to just become a mediocre club. The history and everything be finished. The values, everything be gone. That's the truth. That's where we're going.
Warren, what's your view, mate?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say about this business about us attracting players. Right? This business about players not wanting to go to Newcastle is a load of old baloney, in my opinion. When Man City first got all their money, people were saying that they wouldn't be able to attract players because it's wet, it's cold, no one wants to go there, it's a horrible place to live. And look at them, they're attracting all the top world-class players into their club.
And
right?
managers as well.
Huh?
And managers as well What managers?
Exactly. And don't think that Spurs aren't going to strengthen. They got Antonio Conte. He's one of the best managers in the world. He will not want to sit there and rest on his laurels. He will push Tottenham's board to give him the funds he feels they need to make a challenge. And I'm telling you now, next season, they are going to be challenging because of him. Right? Now, sorry, to answer your question, sorry, mate. I can't see if we're struggling next season. I don't think they will get rid of him. Right? The reason I don't think they'll get rid of him because what I said at the very start. Because they employed him because I think they knew that he wouldn't make us challenge. Because I don't think they want us to challenge. Because don't forget what Kroenke said when he came here, and he said, I didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies. All right? And they had the opportunity to get Allegri, right? And they turned down Allegri for Arteta, right? Arteta's got no experience, blah, blah, blah. For some reason, this fan base absolutely adore Mikel Arteta. I don't get it. I don't understand why it is, other than the fact that maybe they like it because he dresses well and maybe they think he's good looking. I just don't understand what it is, right? But he is doing everything the Kroenkes want him to do. So they're not going to leave. They're not going to get rid of him, I don't believe, all the time that he's dancing to their tune because they've got an easy life. The only way that they'll get rid of him, I believe, is as the fans start not going to games, stop buying the merchandise and start protesting. It's the only way that we're going to get him out. And that's... I heard the other day a guy on Northside London's channel. He goes on there regularly. He wears a cap, and he was being questioned about whether Mikel Arteta should be sacked because at the end, in the beginning of the season, I'm pretty sure he was saying that if he doesn't get fourth, he should be sacked. Right? He's now pushed back. Oh, well, I'm going to be backing him next season.
Here,
they
Warren,
do.
call him out. It's fired. Call him out. Fired.
Boaz, you're in the mud. He's in the mud.
Yeah, I have to jump in and say something. His name is Priest Ford or Ford, whatever his name
No,
is.
that's it. That's the fella, right?
And he was talking about Arteta, and he was so bad. I actually got in on the stream, and I put it to him, and he just said, "Oh, I don't want to answer that now. He's too angry. He's too hurt. He's too hurt." He didn't want to talk to me about it.
But to be fair to him, I don't want to put all the blame on him. He is typical of this fan base, right? Any excuse to back this manager, anything goes wrong, there's 1,001 excuses about why it's not his fault. And until all the time this continues, there will be some excuse as to why we shouldn't get rid of him. Because they're infatuated with him. I just do not understand it. You know, and I don't want to be disrespectful to Gracie, but I used to think the same as Del Boy. I thought it was just the young supporters. But thank God we've got Gracie, a really intelligent young woman. And I'm so grateful to you, Gracie, because all the time we've got fans of your age and who are like you. I feel confident that our club's got a bright future. So thank you. Honestly.
The funny thing is that there's a guy before this show got. When I was doing my history one last night, there was a young lad who has been given Lee, Kenny, and I serious crap on Lee's channel quite a long time. And last night he gave me my chat, which unfortunately at the moment is on private and it's on YouTube. And he actually turned round, and fair play to the young kid, he said, Jez, you, Lee and Kenny are right, I'm wrong, and I apologise for all the crap I've given you because you've shown me that you know you're right. And I said, look, mate, you don't have to apologise because when I was a young lad, I was Terry Neal in. I was 18 at the time, 17, 16 when he first joined the club. And I remember when it was all going wrong. And I was saying to my mates and older people, look at my granddad. Yeah, but he's got us to 3 cup finals, you know. My granddad said, oh, we only won one. And I said, yeah, but it's 3 cup finals, you know, blah, 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 and all this. 18 months later, I was walking up with my granddad and friends up to the Islington Town Hall to get him out. So, anyway.
No, so I was just going to finish up by saying that that if it's continued, and I was going to finish up by saying it isn't the case that it's just the young fans. It isn't. Del Boy told me that when he went to the ground, there were people his age, my age, older, who were backing this manager. And it's embarrassing. These people should know better. And I'm just thankful that we got fans like Gracie because she's the future of this football club. And I'm so grateful for you, Gracie. And I'm getting really emotional now because I don't think I'm going to see this club win another serious title before I go upstairs. I really don't.
So do I.
I think it scares all of us because the simple reason is that we're so far removed from the standards. Because you know when we won it in 1971, obviously I was a kid, but when I grew up into the Arsenal, I had to be told that we won the double because all I ever saw was Liverpool's domination, and I thought no other club could dominate, even because they were dominating. I know Aston Villa won it in '81. I know in 1978 Nottingham Forest had a go and they won it, but apart from that, it was Liverpool, then Everton came along. But when George Graham, said that he's going to reawaken the sleeping giant as Arsenal. I believed that was when we became a club that took it seriously. And even after we won our last title in 1991, I always believed that if we actually got the right manager, we could still win that title. Even though Man United were dominating, I just felt we'll win the odd one. And then Arsene Wenger came along. But since 2004, I must say that I actually gave up thinking we were going to win the title again. Probably in about 5 years afterwards. And even when we did have the odd challenge, that's what it's been. And I'm with you, Warren. I just can't see it. I can't see where our next title challenges come from, where the next title wins come from, because the whole DNA of the club was all wrong. Because even when George Graham left, there was still a DNA that made me think we could challenge. And even after when Arsenal was there, when I was in love with Arsene, I thought we could challenge. When I fell out of love with Arsene, I only fell out of love with him because I realised that we're never going to win the league again.
See, Kenny, after we lost that Champions League final, I was down, seriously depressed for about 2 months afterwards. Like, it really hurt me, and I'm still scarred for it to this day. Do you know what I mean? Because it dawned on me afterwards that I was probably never ever going to see it again. Do you know? And it hurts. It really hurts.
I'll tell you. Do you know what, Warren? Do you know? I've never said this to anyone, and no one knows this, and I'll just say it now. Like, I remember watching that in my local pub in 2006, watching that game. Right now, I remember losing. I've never, ever, ever watched that final again. I can't. Any highlights or something like that comes up on my TV or fucking YouTube, I don't watch it. I never have watched the highlights of that game. What I done was, the next morning of that game, I booked a flight to Miami. I booked a penthouse hotel. I had 12 grand in my fucking bank account, right? And I was 23 years of age. I booked a flight to Miami. I paid for 3 months accommodation over there. Me and my mate went over about 3 weeks after the final. And I went over to Miami and I forgot about football. And I just went drinking for 3 months solid over in Miami. Because in America, I knew that no one had mentioned football. There'd be no fans over there. Like, the only thing that was over there was the World Cup. But that was grand. And I remember in Miami Beach watching England play Trinidad and Tobago. And after the match, I woke up about 2 days later, I think it was. I got so drunk. And it was like, look, I was only a young fella. And that's the way it is. Look, come here, I had a problem and I went over and that's the way I dealt with it. But that's how much Arsenal means to me. So, a knobhead on fucking Twitter that goes, you fucking muppet, to me, okay? And then his next tweet is, when's the Arsenal merch coming out? Is it coming out on Thursday? And I'm just there, are you for real? Like, this club, like, after the Champions League final, I had to get out of fucking Ireland because I knew people would be slagging me. I knew that, like, I'd see it in the media. And that's how much this club means to me. So for some fucking arsehole on Twitter, hey, you fucking muppet girl boy TV, and I had to fucking go to another continent where I knew I wouldn't see anything about football. That's how much this club means to me. I haven't watched that final thing.
Last question, guys. After what we saw last night with Everton, they've secured their place in the Premier League. What are your predictions? We'll go round the houses. What are your predictions for that game against Everton? My prediction is Arsenal will win that 2-1. I'm saying that because Everton have secured their place in the Premier League. So they're pretty much, in my viewpoint, on the plains They're on the way to Bermuda, Jamaica, St. Lucia, wherever they're going to go. So they're happy boys. That I personally think the game will be in Arsenal's favour. That's my prediction. 2-1. Gracie, you go.
I think I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. You know, it's there to be taken. I think, you know, Everton, as you said, they've secured it. Their season's done and dusted, but doesn't mean we can't take our foot off the pedal. You know, God, a miracle may happen against Tottenham or Norwich. I don't know. It's football at the end of the day, so you can't bank on it. But you know, I think we could win it. It's the last game of the season. We're wearing our new shirts. They're all excited. They're all revved up. Oh, no, we're going to be playing in a couple of months. We're going to be playing in this new shirt. It's a new us, new shirt, new us, new season. All of that rubbish when the season isn't even over yet. But no, I think we'll comfortably, actually no, not comfortably win it 2-1 because it's Arsenal at the end of the day. We may be at home, but Everton may want to finish it on a high note and not on a damp one.
Kyle?
Guys, I say 3-1 to Spurs and then the 3-0. I say 2-0 to Newcastle and then the 2-0 to Newcastle. And I'm saying that we will draw 1-1 with Everton on Sunday.
Good call. Kenny?
That's yeah.
The atmosphere's going to be flat. You know, there's no confidence. No one in the fan base in their right minds think that Spurs are going to flop against Norwich. And I think the game's just going to be a procession of nothingness. And that it's going to be a sleepwalk. Arsenal probably win it 2-1 or 2-0, but it'll be a flat atmosphere. And, you know, all Arsenal fans are going to want to do is just get the match over and done with. And then if they're in a good mood, stay around for the players' lack of appreciation and get the hell out of there because, you know, the only enthusiasm you're going to see is probably for that, you know, North London Forever song. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's going to be flat. We'll win it, but it'll be to no avail.
Exactly. Warren, what do you think, man?
I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. The reason I think that is because I think that Arsenal are going to be deflated. I think Everton will be on a high after getting their Premier League survival. And you often see it. One example I'm going to give is the playoffs. Right? The team who finishes third hardly ever gets promoted because they always end up losing. The team who's come in, right, and finishes seventh, invariably they've gone on a mad run near the end of the season and got themselves into seventh, and they've got big momentum behind them. And I think that's what's going to happen on Sunday with Arsenal and Everton. I think we're going to be flat, and I think they'll be elated. Yeah, they've got their survival secured, and they don't really need to win it. But I think they'll be hyped up and they'll be raring to go.
Del Boy?
I think Norwich are going to win 2-0 and we're going to win 2-0.
Get out. Just get out.
Yeah. No, look, I think it's going to be 2-1 and they're going to go into the next season as in, oh yeah, we won our last season and our last game of the season. Probably 2-0 or something like that. Like Everton are shit, but they'll have the bounce off that. Oh yeah, Mikel, secured us Europa League, and these will be all the words that they'll use. It's the words that they use in the Arsenal.com. Secured, you know what Lee always says, the process, the project. It's words that they're using for these fucking sheep that'll just go, oh, he secured us the Europa League. You know what I mean? And then stupid people just go, oh my God, so he secured us wow, what a manager he is. So, look, they'll win, I think, and, the BBC interview coming out and the way that he's talking, I haven't seen it yet, I haven't clicked on it, which is the way that he's talking is basically, I swear, he's after reinventing the Premier League. The way he's talking, the tactics and stuff like that. Like, people need to wake up. Even if we beat Everton 5-6-0, it's still a disaster season for us because next season, United are going to come big, Newcastle are going to come big, and the rest, Spurs, obviously, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're going to come big. I think next season, 8 if we're lucky.
Fair play, mate. Just want to say hi to Tony Rolfe, legendary Chelsea fan. Goes back for years, and good to see you, Tony. So,
Good to see you, son.
We'll ask this chicken, no disrespect, but could I get everyone's opinion on who will win the Premier League on Sunday? As that is the most significant. Yes, mate, can't disagree with that. Man City or Liverpool, who will win and why? I'm going to go Man City. I think they've got it sewn up, personally. That's my belief. I'm going 2-0 for Man City. And Warren, what's your view, man?
I agree with you, Jez. I think City are going to win it. I think they'll win comfortably. I've heard a lot of talk about the ex-Liverpool Steven Gerrard going there and doing a big favour to Liverpool. I'm sorry, I can't see it. Villa have been really poor recently, and I think they'll steamroll them, basically. I think Liverpool lost the title that day they drew at home with Spurs 1-0. I think that was the day they lost it. So, yeah, I'm going for City.
Okay. Kenny?
Man City, we've been this bit. We've been down this road before 3 years ago when it was like Man City had Brighton away and Liverpool had, I think was it Wolves they had? I don't know whether they had Wolves or Wolves. Maybe they did have Wolves. And at the same situation, Man City, it's just too much of an easy game for them. And I think they're more than capable of winning 5-0. You know what I mean? So I think Man City's title, and they deserve it. Let's face it, they played the best football this season. But Liverpool overall in all competitions probably been the best. But the league is where you'll find out who the best team is, and Man City are.
Yeah, boy, what's your view, man?
I think Arsenal are going to win it because Mikel Arteta is in charge. Oh, sorry, we're not. Yeah, sorry. Well, we got stupid Mikel Arteta. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. Jesus. And I'm not talking about the panel. I'm talking about the fools that sing that song. But anyway, yeah, come here. Do you know what? I'll throw a spanner in the works for everyone. And look, I'm just going to say what James Dunlop is saying here, okay? And I'm not going to go Man City. Like, I think Liverpool are going to win their game. Hands down, they're going to win it, okay? I'll be watching the Man City game. That's what I'll be watching because the pressure is on Man City to win. Like, they have to. We all know Liverpool are going to win. I think they're going to beat Liverpool to beat them comfortable. It's up to Man City. I personally do think Man City will win the game, but it's up to their mentality. If you want to go out and win the league and go for it, they will do it. But if, let's say, Mikel Arteta was there and they needed a result, it'd be a different fucking story. Anyone for cones? Can we put a few cones out on the pitch? But no, look, I'll get off the fence. No, come on. I'll go for an upset. I'll throw Liverpool into the mix. Even though I fucking hate them, I'll throw it into the mix. Go on, the Liverpool.
Kyle, what do you think, man?
I think Man City is going to win it, unfortunately. And I know TK is a Man City fan, so I'm just going to say I hope you don't win it because you're a plastic club. You can't even fill your own stadium. And I hope a real football club like Liverpool do win it on Sunday, and I'd be a happy Arsenal fan if that happens. But big up TK. I hope you don't do it because you're only plastic clubs on.
Who's that other fan?
No, I think City are going to win it. You know, realistically, it's what we're looking at. But then again, pressure could crumble, and you don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be exciting to watch because it's literally one or the other, and you know, we're going to see what happens. But it's City's to lose at the end of the day. So, but overall, I think City can do it quite comfortably.
Fair enough. We'll wrap it up there. Gracie, promote your channel.
Yeah, so Gracie-Mae is just my name. Fan cams, watch alongs, podcasts, vlogs. I'm going to be in London quite a bit this summer, and some things at the Arsenal I have planned. So make sure you stick around for that. And yeah, it's going to be great.
And go and watch Gracie, everyone. She does some great stuff. Go and subscribe. Give her some love. Kyle, promote your channel, man.
Yeah. My channel is called Kyle Walsh Gunner. I had one before, but this is a new channel, so I appreciate a bit of support. I'm only starting out with it, an extra voice to this community. So give it a look. I'm straight talking. I don't hold back. I get very annoyed. The loose is the cooler base, but yeah, what I say are facts in my opinion. And a big up to Jace there. Thanks very much for having me on your channel, Jace. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Gracie. Thanks, Warren. Thanks, Dead Boy. And big up to Kenny Ken, my first time talking to you, man. I know I DM'd you a few times on Instagram, but big up talking to the legend himself. Thanks very much, guys, for having me on your show.
No worries, man. And the fact is, the fact you've restarted your channel, you've done some great stuff. And big up to you. So, nice one. Del Boy,
Thanks, sir.
Put that Guinness down, promote it.
Yeah, put it down. I'm like Del Boy Gunner TV, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube and stuff like that. I'm going down coming up. I'm actually going down. I've a few things on. I'm going down the call out show after the Everton game. Like, anyone can join in, and we'll give our fans prediction and sort of thing of the game. I'm doing that obviously after the Everton game. And then next week, I'm going to have, yourselves, on the channel, we talk about when Arsene Wenger sort of joined and, we go through Warren's slides and stuff like that, get that over and done with. And then also through the summer, I'm going to do international football, the Irish football. Me and Kyle are going to be going to the Ireland game. We're going to do vlogs and stuff like that on my channel and, give it loads. We'll be giving fucking out to the Irish managers as well, because we're moany Irish bollocks. But
is he actually won a game for you guys?
He has now, recently, Like he went something like 14 games without winning. But we're Irish. We're just laid back and we're fucking Egypts, and we'll take anything that anyone takes.
Laid back. You remember the times when you qualified for the World Cup under Jack Charlton, and then also when you had, even the wretched McCarthy.
Guess what year that's on? There's a question for you.
That top is 1988. When Ray Houghton scored against England when Kenny Sampson misplaced his clearance.
Do you know what it was? It was the 1990 World Cup jersey.
No way. That means you didn't change. I'm sure you had the same jersey in '88.
No. Come here. I'm gonna stick it to you, Kenny. It was the ball that Jack Sheedy scored a goal against England, 1-1 draw.
Oh, you mean Kevin Sheedy? You mean Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah. Come here. Now I know your weaknesses, Kenny. Jerseys.
Yeah, that's my only weakness is jerseys. But I remember that game going absolutely mad at Steve McMahon for me giving the ball to Kevin Sheedy, a Liverpool Everton thing, and then he blasted it past Peter Shilton, who, let's face it, went on too long as England goalkeeper. But that's another debate between me, Gracie, Jez and Warren, because we're England's fans and you two aren't.
Kenny, is there nothing you don't know about football?
I'll keep on telling you all you guys. Whilst all my friends were chasing girls and going clubbing, I was watching football, reading up on it and watching it. Going to matches. I just loved the game.
I know. When I Google anything on football, it goes to you, doesn't it?
A lot of people have said that about me quite a few times.
I know it.
About me knowledge of the game.
Anyway, Kenny.
Yeah. Jez, can I just say beforehand, right? And I just want to say, when I was doing the interview with Kenny there, right, and the two of us are there talking, and I must say, he's a big, gentle giant. He's an absolute legend, right? And the two of us were there, right? And if you, Kenny, you know what I'm talking about. When I was interviewing Kenny, right, and next thing I'm there looking at Liam Brady coming walking towards me, and Kenny's looking at him as well, and I just could not believe that Liam Brady is walking towards me and Kenny, and I was just like going, "Oh my god!" And Kenny just goes, "There's your mate, Liam Brady." Oh my fucking god, it's Liam Brady. And then as I'm interviewing Liam Brady goes, "Lads, there's Charlie George." And if you look at the camera, you see Kenny Ken running like a little school kid. Oh my God, Charlie George!
It's true. It's absolutely true. Exactly true. I basically, if there was enough for him, I could have fallen into his driver's lap and got in behind Charlie George and kissed and hugged him. I mean, Charlie George basically said, "Liam, what are you doing? You trying to sign autographs?" I went, "I know that voice, mate. I've heard it in the betting shop in Upper Street." And I thought, right, it's Charlie George. I'm not missing the opportunity. I mean, it was a great day, really, because I saw Charlie George, saw Ian Brady. Then, Gary Breen, I think you guys know. I used to go to school with Gary Breen and play in the same football teams as him in North London. Yeah. So I met Gary Breen, and then there's a nice Irish boxer, although he went to William York, called Jim McDonnell. So the best day of my life was seeing all four of those guys. My old schoolmate, Jim McDonnell, the boxer, and Liam Brady and Charlie George. So it was a win-win. And we won as well.
Kenny Kane, in 2006, I got a ticket to go to the Cardiff Cup over in Cardiff Cup over in Cardiff, the Millennium Stadium. But the thing was, I won a special draw, and I won the tickets VIP with Charlie. Had dinner with Charlie George and Sammy Nelson before the game, and then went down to pitch side to see the game with Charlie George. And he was taking off a lot of vodkas that day, but great crack. It's a day that I'd never forget.
He's Arsenal through and through.
It was the game where John Terry swallowed his tongue. Remember that?
Oh yeah, yes. It was the League Cup final when Arsene Wenger played the kids.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. Charlie George and Kenny Sanson. I'll never forget it.
Kenny, promote your channel, man. On Insta.
I don't have one. I don't have one. It's nothing to promote. I just don't have one. I only got Instagram where I basically think aloud. Basically, I'm a bit of an irritant. Every news story, I just put a little caption in it. Like, if I see Arteta, I'll say Captain Bullshit. If I see any nonsense with Wagatha Christie, I'll take the piss out of them. I just have a laugh with basically all of you guys on Twitter. But I generally have nothing to promote. I don't have a channel.
Well, you should.
Yeah.
I tell you, everybody kept saying to me, Kenny, for, oh, Christ, over a year. And it's only because of being on Lee's channel and all that. So.
But even, Jez, can I just say, even just before me and you done the interview, Kenny, me and you were just talking for, 10, 20 minutes, just talking about life and football and everything like that. Your knowledge is not only unbelievable, but you're an absolute gentleman. And I must say that from the bottom of my heart, I really I love my club, Arsenal, and to talk to you is just unbelievable. I really do respect you.
Thank you very much.
I said it to Jez as well. You should start your own channel because the knowledge that you and Jez know is unbelievable. And please do start the channel for not just me, but for every Arsenal fan out there.
No, thanks. it's I must admit, it's very hard work. Like I said, I've seen a lot of you guys put on some really great content, and the biggest challenge is getting it out there. One thing is that I could strangle some of these channels where people just go on like a pork chop and a wazzock, and they get loads of views, but they don't know anything about football. They don't love the club, but for some reason, is that we basically need to educate our audience, so people who have genuine love of the football club and genuine knowledge, and who have interesting stories to tell, get their point across. Because I'm sick and tired of the content on YouTube where it's just full of pork chops and wazzocks who just happens to support our great club.
Thing is, though, Kelly, your knowledge, your following, your history of the club, of being around the club, your traction, mate, honestly, I'll leave it there because,
Thank you very much, guys.
It took me a time. It took me a time to do it, but I got fully into it. And yeah, it is hard work. I mean, I've had a nightmare today with YouTube. That that one I did last night, I probably spent 3 hours getting it all together, all the research, getting it all done, and then to get no fault of mine to get it blocked for what they say. And it's an error with YouTube. Something's gone wrong. That I've spammed the channel, and I'm like, well, been on to them all day to say, look, when are you going to? I can't do anything about it. It's down to YouTube.
It's been like a problem for every YouTuber. It's a genuine problem because one of the rival channels, he wasn't able to put out his content, and he said that they put it on a private. So I think it's a glitch in their system, which they got to do.
But anyway, Warren, promote yourself, man.
Thank you. Des, can I just say thank you so much? I'm really honoured and feel privileged that you asked me to come on here tonight, and I'm glad you gave the opportunity to say my bit about what's going on at the club. And despite everything that's been said, we have got the power to change it. We just need to keep fighting and never give up. That's all I can say, really. But I wanted to say to Kenny, mate, please start a boxing channel, an Arsenal channel. Please. Listen, man, I'd love to hear you talking about Ben and Eubank and Hagler Hearns and
I think what's happening is that
Leonard and all them guys. Do you know what I mean? I'd love it.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm actually a sporting tragic because I love cricket as well, which a lot of people hate, and I've got a big fan of rugby league, and I just used to watch a bit of Union. But yeah, my biggest passion is football comes first, but boxing's always been a passion because if you're from Islington and you don't like I said go get the qualification. I had some really good. I went to university, but we always idolised our players who play for Arsenal. We always idolised boxing because I'm from an era where we didn't have live football except for the FA Cup final. We didn't have live boxing matches on boxing fights on TV because of But it was a case where you had to go to the boxing arena, you had to go and watch the game, and that's how you fell in love with it. But it's the stories you hear from people who from older year, and I think that's what we don't get enough of. And thank God for you guys in here is that people who with that knowledge, you pass it on because that's what was passed on to me. Knowledge of of our two great sports, boxing and football.
Because for me, like growing up in the 80s, right, when I was a teenager, that era, especially the middleweights, it was gold.
Yeah,
it
was definitely.
Yeah,
Ben and Eubank and all those boys, especially heavyweights we had in this country, middleweights we had in this country. It was superb.
Yeah.
And I just love to see you talking about it and hear, you analysing some of those great fights and all the rest of it. Because I just think
it can be done, but it's just something that I just got lucky. I'm a very fortunate person to, be born in an era where I've seen great football matches, great footballers, and I've seen great boxers and great things. And that I've counted myself lucky, and I'll never go turn the clock back and have any regrets because I've seen it all, and hopefully I'll be entertained by more and more people. The younger version. Still entertain me. Young footballers still entertain me, and boxers still entertain me. There's so much now out there that for me to enjoy and for me to analyse and talk about. So I'm a lucky man.
Anyway, what I'm going to do, guys, is we're coming to the end of the season on Sunday, and I've got a few ideas of what I want to try and do throughout the summer. I'm going to continue with the history stuff. I'm going to have a chat with Kenny because I want to get Kenny involved with that. And Kyle, Del Boy, Warren, Gracie. I want to try and... I've got some great ideas, actually. I really have.
We're all here for you, mate.
It's the fact we all know Lee's going to take the summer out. Fair play to the fella. He streams all day throughout the season. I mean, he fair play. Spoke to him today. He wants to take some time out, and that's great. And I can't blame him because it's going to be a blazing nightmare for him. And I've got some ideas I want to do. I'm going to do some quizzes. I'm going to do all day long, Kenny. I'm going to get what I've thought about doing is getting like Gracie on one night, and then we'll get on some people in the chat and get Kyle Del Boy on, get some people in the chat. Warren, Kenny, and people in the chat come on, and
there's another geezer itching to come on this show, but he's a Chelsea fan.
Tony Rolfe.
He's itching, he's itching.
I know. I'll get Tony on, mate, all day long. Absolute legend of Chelsea. Lovely man. Lovely man. Go back in history there. So, yeah, I've got loads of ideas. So, I want to keep the content going. I want to keep Kenny's profile up and all you guys. Yeah, let's keep it going throughout the summer.
Definitely, mate.
There's absolutely 100%, Jace.
The summer can be like a bit like that, can't it?
It doesn't have to be because remember you got on June you got the Bellissima, the final between Argentina and Brazil, Argentina and Italy. Both teams who won their continental championships. Then you got believe it or not, the League of Nations. Even though we don't like it, there's some good matches there. We can, I don't know, like you got the women's European Championships that have been played at Wembley, and there's loads of things to talk about. And you got transfer news as well, which I think transfer news is not the greatest, but it gets people.
Kennypedia.
What I'm going to do is the Irish Football League is constantly on, and every Friday night I'm going to be going to a game, in the Irish League, and I'll be doing vlogs sort of through it.
Which league? You talk about? Is it the league where you ain't going to be playing Linfield, are you? No. It's like Shamrock Rovers, Shelbourne. Damien Duff is managing them. It's basically what's happening now in Irish football. Okay, what used to happen is the younger players used to always go over to England. So when they were about 16 years of age, they used to go over to England. But now they can't because of Brexit. So what's happening is the Irish League now is holding on to these players. And next thing they're becoming into great players and they're going to Spain. Like my local club, the team that I manage, Atletico Madrid, are after coming in and they're doing training courses with the likes of myself. Wow. And they're looking at other young players as well to come in, and they're gonna pick them because we're in Europe, Britain isn't, so that's the way it is.
That,
to
that
do a deal with
this guy
Athletic
here.
Madrid so you can come and handpick our best players, but you need to send us Diego Simeone to Arsenal.
Do you know what I was trying to say, Warren? They might be hand-picking Del Boy here because you know what? I'm the next Diego Simeone, yeah. I just need to learn the Spanish, the lingo, yeah.
I'm just going to say this TG23 dot slash Jez, can you consider doing a My Arsenal story for yourself and other YouTubers? Well, yeah, I'll do it for other YouTubers, mate, because I've pretty much talked about myself as at Arsenal. You'd be bored to death, to be fair. I don't think there's much more I can talk about, but I'd be more than happy to get people on and talk about your experiences. I was
That'd be
had a
brilliant.
brilliant show with Kenny and Gracie-Mae a few weeks ago, and it was amazing.
I've done one with Warren as well. We're going to do a part 2 on Tuesday.
That's right, we are.
Del Boy. So more than happy to do that. So I'm planning to do, guys, and Gracie, be politically correct.
I don't care. Just put it out. I really don't care. I'm from that one. I don't care less. Just whatever.
I'm planning to keep it like going over the summer, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff about Arsenal and other stuff. And I'm going to get Gracie on one day, and it'll be a totally different subject. And I'll keep that quiet for now, but it's going to be awesome. I've got an idea. I'll talk to you about it, Gracie, but it'll be totally off spec.
I think I've got an idea.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And it'll be great. It'll be really interesting. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it there. Thank you all.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Thanks for having me, Jez.
Del Boy, the legend is Kenny Ken. Warren, top fella. Thank you all for coming on. It's been a great stream. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think there's been a lot of people in the chat have enjoyed it. And we will all talk again soon. Take care.
I'll take her out.
I'll take her out.